Welcome to the last part of the discussion video on the budget process. So, andito na po tayo sa budget accountability. So, under the budget accountability, dito na i-audit lahat ng financial transactions. Kung nagamit mo ba yung budget in accordance with kung saan ito inappropriate. So, yung mga ganong transaction will be looked at the budget accountability phase. So this phase occurs concurrently with the budget execution phase. As the budget is being executed, it is regularly monitored to determine the conformance of actual results with planned targets. So, nangyayari siya na pwede kasi na the budget is already executed at this period tapos ang ino-audit ay yung prior year's budget. Pwedeng nangyayari yon na budget execution ka for the budget for this year pero budget accountability phase ka for the budget nung last year ngayon pa lang ino-audit. Pwedeng nagkakaroon ng overlap on these phases. But the concept and the basic logic here is uh, the budget that has been planned, the budget that has been legislated, the budget that has been executed and disbursed will be audited for accountability purposes. So under number 12, we look at the budget accountability report. So paano natin ma-measure yan? Meron pong separate reports na i-introduce sa iyo. The government agencies are required to submit the following accountability reports. One is the monthly report of disbursement. So, ang naka-indicate lang po dyan ay kung ano ba yung mga na-disburse mo for this particular month at naka-classify yan in accordance with the disbursement authority. This is submitted to the COA and the DBM within 30 days after the end of each month. So kung yan ay February, isi-submit mo yan dapat until March 30. Kung January, until February 28. Okay. For item B, quarterly physical report of operation. This shows the agency's physical accomplishments in a quarter vis-a-vis its physical target. So merong mga format na tinitingnan dyan. So itong mga physical targets, yan ay in-accomplish mo na under yung nung nagpa-plan ka pa lang ng budget. And then the physical accomplishments, ito na yung i-indicate mo na the result or output on your budget execution. Item C, statement of appropriations, allotments, obligations, disbursements, and balances. Ang haba nung title nung report. But kaya ganyan kahaba yung title ng report is in-identify niya lang po yung number of columns. What does it mean? Binabangga lang po. Halimbawa, yung report niya, appropriation, may column for appropriation. Allotment, may another column. Obligation, another column. Disbursement, another column. And then the final balances, another column. Kaya ganyan ang pangalan niya. Ganun kahaba. Item D, summary of appropriation, allotment, obligation, disbursements, and balances by object of expenditures. When same lang din yung procedure. Naka-column yung bawat item. Appropriation, allotment, obligation. And then, naka-classify lang siya by object of expenditures. Paano naman natin malalaman yung object of expenditures? Later on, titingnan natin kung ano yung itong mga klase ng object of expenditures na to. Ang example niyan is yung mga, for example, salaries and wages, traveling expenses, representation expenses, miscellaneous expenses, repairs and maintenance, and among other types of expenditures. So, inaka-indicate kung magkano halimbawa ang appropriated for salaries and wages, magkano ang allotment na na-receive, magkano ang obligation, disbursements, and then the balances. So, merong mga separate reporting yan. And each specific report has the purpose. Merong data na kailangan kasi ang DBM dyan para kapag nag-consolidate sila ng total balances, total appropriations for the entire nation ay mas madali nilang ma-identify. Kaya hiwa-hiwalay yung reporting niyan. Item C, list of allotments and sub-allotments. This shows the allotments received by agency from the DBM and the sub-allotments from the central office to regional office or lower operating units para ma-identify natin kung na-transfer na ba lahat ng allotment na naibigay sa mga central offices na merong regional or lower operating units. Okay. Statement of approved budget, utilization, and disbursement. So, ini-indicate lang dito yung approved mong budget, yung utilization mo, at saka yung disbursements and balances. Bakit? This is prepared by agencies that have authority to use their revenue. So, pwede kasi na meron kang internally regenerated revenue, kailangan ma-monitor namin kung properly na-utilize ba yan at magkano pa ang balances niyan. Kasi pwedeng i-request ng DBM na kung sobrang malaki ang mga balances niyan ay ibigay mo yung ibang portion sa Bureau of Treasury for the use of other government agencies. Summary of approved budget, utilizations, disbursements, and balances by object of expenditures. This is similar to item F above but provides details of expenditures. Ina-identify yung details of expenditures such as traveling, maintenance, and other classification or object of expenditures. Quarterly report for revenue and other receipts. This shows the actual revenues and receipts remitted to the BTR and deposited in authorized banks in a given quarter. Okay. As indicated there, reports B to H are reported on a quarterly basis at yung sinasubmit sa COA within a monthly ay or within 30 days after the end of each uh, quarter ay yung items B to H kasi yung item 1, yung monthly report of disbursement ay sinasubmit siya 30 days after the end of each month. Etong A ang naiba. Okay, let's proceed with item I, the aging of due and demandable obligations. It shows the names of creditors, the amounts owed to them, and number of days these obligations are outstanding. This report submitted to the COA and DBM within 30 days after the end of the year. Bakit kailangang i-identify yung age of due and demandable obligations? Simply because 'di ba ang rule natin under the zero based budgeting ay yung savings nire-revert natin sa Bureau of Treasury. So, kung meron ka pang mga obligated transactions pero hindi pa nababayaran at the end of the year, saan ka kukuha ng perang ipangbabayad mo dyan for the next year? And remember, under the government accounting, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yung present appropriated fund. Bawa yung GAA for 2021 cannot be used to pay transactions for 2020 kasi ibang batas ang nagpasa for the ibang funds dapat ang gagamitin doon. So this is the cure there. Kailangan lang pong mag-submit ng aging of due and demandable obligations para doon sa mga hindi pa nabayaran as of the end of the year para magkaroon tayo ng request. This shall be submitted to the COA and the DBM para mai-separate accounting nila yung pag-release ng funds sa'yo para dito sa mga uh, transactions na ito. Kasi hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yung newly appropriated GAA para doon sa mga previous years transactions na hindi pa nababayaran. So kung hindi mo yan magagawa, hindi mo pwedeng bayaran yun. Okay? A consolidated statement of allotments, obligations, and balances per summary of appropriations based on reports C and D shall be submitted on or before February 14 of the following year. Okay, kino-consolidate lang natin yung allotments, obligations, balances per summary of appropriations for reporting purposes. Okay? Okay na tayo sa budget accountability reports. Itong ginagawa under the budget accountability report. So remember, reporting ka na. So tinitingnan natin kung nai-execute ba mabuti yung planned budget. 13, performance review. As the term implies, tinitingnan natin yung performances ng bawat agencies, the budget accountability reports, and then you report it to the President. The DBM, the COA, performs these periodic reviews. Okay. It will depend on the DBM and the COA kung paanong periodic or the schedules of the time or and the timing of the periodic performance reviews. Okay? 14, the audit. The COA audits the agencies. The COA is the supreme audit authority in the Philippines. So whatever is the result of the findings of the COA will be final kasi sila na ang uh, supreme audit body. Okay? The budget reports, together with other budget records, provide info in preparing the statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts, which is one of the components of a complete set of financial statements of a government entity. Okay. Okay. So meron po tayong statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts. This will be discussed on the later chapters of this course. Okay, let's look at medyo nakakalito pa by this time sa iyo yung cycle ng budget preparation, budget legislation, execution and accountability. And I think when pero nagkakaroon ng konting kaliwanagan. But if we look at this story about the budget cycle, you will be more enlightened on how the budget process is going in our nation, the Philippines. Okay, let's look at this. Meron siyang phases, budget preparation. Papa and Mama are leaving for a 1-month trip. So they ask you and your little sister to make an estimate of the money you will need while they are gone. So magkano yung perang kailangan mo habang sila ay wala. At nung tinawag kanila to make an estimate of the money, that is called the budget call. So yun yung budget call na diniscuss natin before, di ba? Tinatanong bawat agency kung ano ang funds na kailangan, magkano, anong programs na anong paggagamitan, ganun. You started your estimate by asking first your little sister of her needs. So ikaw yung nakatatanda, tinanong mo yung sister mo of the needs. So anong tawag doon? That is bottom up budgeting. Kasi nga at the lowest level of the operations, kino-consider on the budgeting process. Same time last year, Papa and Mama also went for a 1-month trip and they had you made a similar estimate. However, instead of giving them that old estimate, you decided to make a new one in order to better reflect current circumstances. So that is zero-based budgeting. Kasi kung gagamitin mo yung last year, and lagyan mo lang ng konting increments or adjustments, that is incremental budgeting. Pero dahil you like to make a new one, that is zero-based budgeting. You defended your estimate with your mama. That is budget hearings, di ba? Di ba yung sa under budget preparation, after budget call, magkakaroon na tayo ng budget hearings. Mama submitted the estimate to Papa for approval. So Papa is the president. So that is presentation to the office of the president. Ayan yung phase under budget preparation. Yan yung steps under the budget preparation phase, I mean. Okay, si Papa then now consulted Lolo, which is a retired lawyer, to review your estimates. That is house deliberation. So si Papa, sinubmit na niya yan kay Lolo, which is a retired lawyer for um, estimate, so pag-aaralan. So, yan yung house deliberations. Kapag yung budget ay galing na kay Papa, which is Office of the President, that is already the President's budget. Okay? After reviewing the estimate, Lolo gives the estimate to Lola, a retired CPA, for further study. So, house deliberations, this is the lower house. Nung okay na yan kay Lolo, sinabit niya sa Senate for deliberations. That is the upper house. Lolo and Lola had some disagreements. So may mga conflicts dun sa budget. So they asked Umpong, your dog, to harmonize the conflicts. So that is the bicameral deliberations through the bicameral conference committee. After harmonizing the conflicts, Umpong submitted the BICAM version of the estimate back to both Lolo and Lola for ratifications or for approval nila dun sa mga conflicts na pinlansya natin. Lolo and Lola submitted the ratified estimate to Papa for enactment. So for signature or final approval ng President. Your approved budget for the month is 100. So ito na po yung appropriation or the General Appropriation Act as a law. Now, execute na natin. Papa left the money to Uncle. Uncle gave you guidelines on how the money will be released to you based on your estimates of the timing of disbursements. Release guidelines and beds. So, si Uncle yung Department of Budget and Management. Okay? So, magre-release yan ng guidelines kung paano mo gagastusin yan at yung expenditure niyan. Uncle told you that you can now incur obligations up to a maximum of 80. Remember, ang inappropriate sa'yo ay 100. Pero hindi naman sa'yo automatic ibibigay yung 100 kasi nga, hindi mo naman yan agad magagastos. So, binigyan ka muna ni Uncle ng 80, allotment pa lang po yun. When you are given an allotment, ang ibig sabihin lang nun, pwede ka nang mag-contract at pwede ka nang mangutang, pero hindi pa ibig sabihin yan ay bayaran. This is just a guarantee, this is an authorization by the DBM to an agency na ikaw ay pwede ka nang mag-incur ng obligations or pwede ka nang mangutang. Kasi nga, yan ay ah, mababayaran kasi you are authorized by the DBM. You then went to Aling Masing's store. Pumunta ka na kay tindahan to purchase groceries, good for 1 month, worth 50 on credit. This is yung incurrence na nga ng obligation. Tangutang ka. Uncle gave you 25 cash to cover your cash disbursement needs for the first week. Disbursement Authority notice of cash allocation. You gave little sister her share of 5 notice of transfer of allocation. So, pansinin mo, binigyan ka ng allotment na 80, allowed ka na i-incur yung allotments na yan, then 25 lang ang ibinigay sa'yo under NCA. Ibig sabihin, yan lang yung pera mo pa for the first week. Then yung 5, binigay mo pa nga kay little sister. So, dahil kumbaga ikaw yung central office, binigyan mo yung regional offices ng 5, that is notice of transfer of allocation. Your disbursements in the first week were as follows. Okay, so naka-identify isa-isa dyan. 5 installment payment to Aling Masing and 12 on personal needs. Little sister 5 on personal needs. Total disbursements in first week is 22. 5 plus 5 plus 12. Now, budget accountability, you will be audited. Your budget accountability reports after the first week will show the following information. So, ito na yung BAR or budget accountability reports mo. Appropriation sa'yo, 100. Ang na-receive mong allotment, 80. Unreleased appropriation mo, 20. Kasi 100 minus 80 is 20. Obligations na incur mo as computed natin ay 50 kay Aling Masing, 12 on your personal needs, 5 on your little sister. Okay, 67 ang obligations incurred. Unobligated allotment, 80 minus 67. Kasi 67 yung inobligate mo, that is 13. Disbursements mo ay 22. Yung nagastos mo or ibinayad mo na for first week. Unpaid obligation, 67 minus 22 is 45. Ito pa yung payable mo kay Aling Masing. Unused NCA mo, 25 minus 22 is 3. So, pwedeng ang tenor ng questioning in the CIPALI board exam is how much is the unreleased appropriation, how much is the unpaid obligation, how much is the unobligated allotment, how much is the appropriation. So, ganon. So, dapat alam mo kung paano laruin yung information na binigay sa'yo. Uncle periodically updates Papa and Mama regarding your budget execution through call and text. That is the performance review made by COA and DBM. And Papa and Mama will audit you when they return. That is the audit na. Okay? Notice that the appropriation, allotments, and disbursement are systems of budgetary controls. Instead of releasing the allocated funds of 100 to you all at once, it is released on a piecemeal basis based on your budget execution documents. So this diagram will summarize everything that we have discussed under the budget process. Okay, this is for your analysis. Although we already have repeated the items there. Okay. The concept of responsibility accounting is present in government accounting. Why? Ang sinasabi lang po dito ay bawat government agency ay binigyan ng responsibility center code structure. So makikita mo yun dun sa book mo. Bawat isang government agency ay may inaka-assign na responsibility center code. So meron siya yung organization, department, agency, lower level operating unit. So kung yung code mo na yun, that will identify you as a responsibility center. So anong tinitingnan diyan? Yung normal lang under responsibility center na yung head ng agency is responsible for all the transactions that has been made by the agency under his or her control. Okay, so may sample tayo dyan like the Commission on Audit. So I think that ends the discussion for the chapter 2, the budget process. Thank you.